Hello, my friends. Welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday for Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. This is Jennifer. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for your wonderful reaction to the finish of the bookcase quilt. That was really wonderful, just amazing to get to share that with you guys last week. Obviously, it feels very good to be finished. I recorded my video, I washed the quilt, and I put it on the bed, and my husband loves it. He has slept under it every night, so it's been wonderful just to get to see it in situ. So I thought today, instead of going super deep into other show and tell, I would do two things. I want to show you one tiny project, and then I'm going to talk about what's next. First up is this tiny little project that I did that I'm very happy to share. So this is a Rubbermaid message center from the 1970s, but it's not just any message center. This used to live in my grandmother's kitchen. So my granny had this in her kitchen when I was growing up. This used to have a chalkboard on it. Somewhere along the line, it got huge score marks on it, and it came to me years and years ago, and it's been waiting to be turned back into a message center. I always knew I would do something with it, and I just never quite figured out what. For a while I had some corkboard on here, but it was okay, but this isn't a lot of real estate for a corkboard. So finally I had an idea and I executed it. I took the corkboard off, I cleaned it all up, and this is actually Cricut dry erase vinyl that I attached to Cricut adhesive cardstock. So the adhesive cardstock came when I bought my maker. I bought a bundle, which is just sort of a starter set that has samples of a bunch of stuff. And that's what this was from. And then the dry erase, I got at Austin Creator Reuse for 50 cents. So I used stuff I already had. It was super easy. I stuck this vinyl to the cardstock first. I got the dimensions. I did a test with a piece of paper first to make sure it would fit. And then I cut it out and I stuck it on. Honestly, the hardest part was getting the air bubbles out from between the vinyl and the cardstock, and that was it. These I just cut with a paper cutter. This will live somewhere in my sewing room. I just don't know where yet. So now, as the message center said, what's next? What am I doing next? Now that this massive project is done, I finished two really big things that have been on my to-do list this year. The Raggedy Rescue, turning those into Good Omens characters, and the massive bookcase quilt that I started in 2021. That's all done. So what am I doing now? Well, I do have some things on my to-do list that need to be quilted. Total, I have 5 quilt tops that need to be quilted. One of them I have earmarked for a gift, so that's the first one I'm going to quilt. I'm not sure when that's going to happen because I don't need it for a couple of months, but it will happen soon. And then the others are almost entirely fandom related, so those are quilts for me. And I'm not in a rush because I don't really need them to be in circulation right now, but I will get them done just because it'll be fun to have them finished. The next big thing is the quilt in the room. This was the impetus for finishing the bookcase quilt. This is the t-shirt quilt that I made for my husband in 2013. He has used this to sleep under ever since. It has gotten a lot of love, and it is in desperate need of some quilty hospital time. When I first made this in 2013, I did not have a frame to quilt on. I didn't have even the most basic setup for doing something this big. And I did do a lot of quilting on my domestic machine at the time, but that's also right around the time I started having some carpal tunnel issues, and I was kind of pulling back from quilting as much on my domestic machine. So someone that I knew at the time had just gotten a long arm and volunteered to do one thing for all the people that were in this one group that I was in back in the day, just to quilt one thing for them for practice. And so this is my one thing that she did for me. I'll put some close-ups so you can see this, but it was quilted really, really large. And because this is a t-shirt quilt, the quilting, it started popping almost immediately, and I never complained because I didn't pay to have this quilted, so it was what it was. I did actually give her feedback, so she knew that was an issue. This does have stabilizer under it. But I think it's just too heavy because t-shirt fabric's really heavy. This quilt is heavier than the bookcase quilt, even with all the embroidery and applique and all of that. It's heavier than that quilt. So that was the first issue. The quilting started popping, and then because they're t-shirts, some of them had various different levels of wear, and this t-shirt up here is just literally falling apart. You can actually see the stabilizer behind the fabric, behind the t-shirt fabric. It's still intact, it's still there, but the t-shirt has come away and it's starting to shred. The other issue that this quilt is having is that because this was quilted so large, I think it was too big for the batting. And so there are places where the batting has just made these huge bumps. It's just like lumped up in like scrunched up corners. So this was, as I said, the impetus for finishing the bookcase quilt, because I wanted to be able to work on this without a deadline. So finishing the bookcase quilt means that not only will he have 2 quilts that he can change out whenever he wants. I would like to add a third to the mix, but you know, let's be real, I'm not doing it right now. I'm gonna take the binding off of this. I'm taking all of the quilting out. Shouldn't actually take that long because a lot of it's already broken. And then I'm going to repair or replace the places that have holes. Like this shirt, I think is just going to be replaced. This was from a job that my husband had like 15 years ago. And I don't think he has any of those company shirts left anymore because he doesn't work at this place anymore. It's paper thin, it's in tatters. So I will be replacing that one. And then there's one further down on this side that is a Cthulhu shirt that it has holes in it, but I'm going to try to repair that one because it's not as bad as this one. So I'm going to try to repair that particular shirt. I do plan to put a new quilt back on this because there are a lot of holes in the quilt back that's already on here. I'm going to try to find something softer because this fabric, I'm going to be honest with you guys, it was a Joann's fabric and it wasn't that great. And it was never, this has been washed so many times, it's been used for 12 years. And it's still not really soft. So I'm going to put a better quilt back on this, and then I am going to quilt it, and it's going to be quilted more heavily so that it will all stay together, so the batting will hold, etc. And hopefully he'll get another decade out of it after that. Just to be clear, I don't want you guys to think I'm stingy with quilts with my husband. He has 2 that are just his. They're both like 100 inches long. You saw the bookcase quilt last week. It is 98 inches long, I think. This one is 99 inches long. There are tons of quilts on my house, but not the rest of them are not this big. So these are just his quilts. And then there are like household quilts floating around that he also uses. The other thing that I am doing, and I've already started, and I would love for you guys to go check this out and tell me what you think, is I have been updating my website. So a couple of things happened recently. One, I got a notification that my YouTube channel is 18 years old, so that's wild. But also, I've owned Sew Hooked longer than I've been on YouTube, and I have tutorials out there that are dated to like 2005. I've had a website since 1996. I built my first website in 1996, and it was 100% a fan website. It was a Star Trek themed website. And I have always collected and shared craft related things related to whatever craft I was into at the time. So I have literally over 20 years worth of tutorials and patterns that are written, and some of them are really broken because the pictures are gone or whatever like that. So what I am doing, what I've already been doing, and again, I want you guys to check this out. Let me know what you think. I have updated all of my free pattern archives. They are simpler. They have less text information, more photo, bigger photos. And now you can see the photo. If you click on the photo, it will bring up the whole picture so you can see a big version of that photo. There's a caption on every single one of those quilt patterns. That goes directly to the pattern. All my patterns are free. You guys there's no paywall anywhere on any of my free patterns. They're all free. Everything that's on my website is free. I stopped selling stuff in 2019, and I've slowly been adding more and more stuff that is free because I hated being a business. I didn't like selling stuff. I did it for close to like 18 years. I sold patterns for almost 10, but I had a side gig always. I had an Etsy store. I did craft sales. I did all that kind of stuff. I made and sold bags and jewelry and all kinds of stuff before I became a quilter. So I have all of these tutorials for stuff that I have written over the years that I am going to work to get up to date. So where it stands right now is I now have a free page on sewhooked.com for bookcase quilts, and it's all of my bookcase quilt patterns, all of them in one place. They're on one page. So it has anything that I've ever designed bookcase quilt, it's all in one page, all free patterns. I have a fandom page that is everything fandom that is not bookcase. I actually did put a little bookcase here and there, but it's just because that maybe there's not an overlap with something else. But it's almost entirely not bookcase. So I have a fandom page that's all the fandom patterns that I have available for free. I've added a sunbonnet sew page because I have done dozens of sunbonnet sews over the years. I'll talk about that more later. If you've been around for a while, you already know the story behind that. They're not all available yet, but I'm going to work on that because those patterns are close to 20 years old now, and it's time to just make them all free. So that is coming soon. The sunbonnet sews are all coming soon. I have added a holiday pattern page. So there is Christmas, winter, fall, Halloween, spring holidays. That's all on a page now. This is all in the menu. Again, sewhooked.com. Free patterns, all free. Free for your personal use. It's all there. But I haven't always been a quilter. And as you guys know, I do all kinds of other crafty things. I have so many tutorials that are broken, that are older tutorials, like the photos are gone, the links are broken, whatever. I have updated an ancient page that hasn't been in my menu for years that's just called tutorials. So there's a free tutorial page where I am slowly updating and adding all of my old tutorials to this page. It's already up, it's already live. There's already a ton of stuff on it. I am trying to be as organized as possible. Some of these pages have working menus, some of them do not. I'm trying to do menus inside of the pages so that you don't have to just scroll and scroll and scroll. So that's coming soon. So I would be forever grateful if you guys go to sewhooked.com, look at my free pattern pages, look at my tutorial page, give me some feedback. Tell me if it works for you, if it makes sense to you. What am I missing? Is there something else I could do to make it easier? I had one idea related to that, and I would love feedback on this too, because I mean, I share everything weekly. I have my show and tell, so this is stuff that I would share here. I have some old tutorials that have very limited images, but a lot of text, because in the early days of the internet, it was expensive to upload photos. So I just didn't have a lot of photos for my tutorials back in the day. So I thought it would be fun to take one or two of those tutorials and do almost like a reaction video, but instead of a reaction, it would be me following my own tutorial from like 20 years ago. So if that's something you might be interested in, let me know, because I thought that could be kind of fun. Okay guys, that is absolutely it for today. I have talked way too long. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Happy 18th birthday to my YouTube channel. Have a safe week. Have a crafty week. I'll see you next week. Bye.